Hey, Tim Sykes here, and I've had a frankly very good month. I've had some losses along the way, but I've had some nice $5,000 profits lately in just the past few days, even as I've been trading and traveling. And a lot of people are asking me, how do you make obviously, $4.6 million dollars? It's not easy, okay? I don't want you to think that just because you study hard, just because, you study on the weekends, it's going to guarantee you millions of dollars. Studying hard just gets you, in the ring, basically. You will not make this kind of money if you do not study hard. That I can guarantee. But if you do study hard, you have better odds. So you can't control every trade. You can't predict the outcome of every trade. What you can do is prove how dedicated you are. And, as you can see from my top students, Tim Grittani, 1,500 now into 4.4 million in roughly 6 years. Michael Good, my first hater, just passed $2 million. I still have to write a whole blog post on that. Mark Crook coming up on 800,000 in profits, and Stephen Ducks coming up on $1 million. If you look at all of their trades in depth, which you should do, I'm not just bragging about these students. I'm actually using them as examples because they've all had success in just a few years. And statistically, what we have achieved should be impossible. But the key to this, because now, me and several of my top students are now on the right path. It's not just about consistent profits. I see a lot of you guys, you make $5, you make $10, you make $50 on a trade, and you're like, yeah, Tim, I'm really getting it. You're not really getting it. The way to make this kind of money, it's not consistent profits, okay? It's recognizing when there's a really good play. If you look, I just had a $3,000 loss on my long-term trade. If you're one of my long-term newsletter subscribers, you'll see a video lesson on that. I detail all of my losses. But let's just take a look at my trades over the past year, because I think this is a little better. Where if you look at the dollar gains, 11,000, 6,000, 6,000, 5,000, 5,000, 4,000. I've actually had two of my best trades in the past year, just in the past week or so. Even while traveling, trading with, very little Wi-Fi. My E-Trade account was actually restricted from trading. If you follow me on Instagram, it's kind of funny. I videoed my support calls with E-Trade because I travel so much. They restricted my account, so I had some execution problems. But if you look at some of these, trades, it's not consistent. It doesn't happen, every single day, every single week. The key to my biggest profits over the past year, and I trade with a small account. I'm starting to trade with a bigger account. Again, I'm trading with all different account sizes just to try to give, my students with various account sizes the best education possible, the most diverse and the most comprehensive. But if you really look through all of my trades, you will see that it's not, small gains adding up every day, every few days. It's really, I think actually a better, hold on, let me pull up a better example. This is my website, timothysykes.com. I highly encourage you to go there. There are now 8,000 plus blog posts on this website. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. But for this video, I really want to go over my recent trades here. And I think this is a really good example where, sometimes I'm just not doing anything. For basically June 8th, all the way through like June, really 13th. For like a week, I'm not making any money. And some people are like, "Oh my God, Tim! Like you're a multimillionaire and you're making $100, $15. You're losing 190. You're making 180. You're making 90. Like, what is this? This is pathetic. This looks terrible." And then even when I do pretty well on the 13th, I lose big on the 14th. I got a little stubborn. I didn't cut losses like I should have. And really, it took me until the 19th and the 22nd when I have really the 16th through the 22nd, actually right when I've been traveling for the past week, to really, break this kind of malaise, this kind of just my account going nowhere. Here's a little chart of my profits. And you can see here, aside from really starting on the 18th, so just in the past week, I was only at like 12,000 in profits, and really, for all of June, I had only made like 4 grand. It was, I mean, it's not bad. 4 grand in a month is not bad, but it's kind of bad. When there are so many hot plays, the market has been a little trickier lately than some other times. But at the same time, what I want you to see is that even though, from June 6th up until June 18th, so 12 days, right? And my account really barely grows at all. And then June 18th, to when the market is open on the 23rd, look at this. Okay? All it takes is 1 week, and my profits on the month have basically doubled. So it's not just about these, $15 gains, $180 gains. These are pretty much all scratches. And I know it's confusing for some of you guys because I'm trading with a bigger account. I wish that my E-Trade account hadn't been restricted. I had big problems, big problems over the past few weeks with my small E-Trade account. But I started the year with 5 grand. I'm now up to roughly 15 grand, so that account has basically tripled. But all of this is me having scratches. And really, the best plays on ITKG, I nailed it. I got one of the best sells I've ever gotten. That was one of my biggest percent winners. And then WKHS, I sold a little too soon. It actually went up another 50 cents a share, so probably could have made more, but it was kind of a choppy stock, and then they did a financing, so it came back down. So either if you want to like say, okay, good trades, bad trades, playing it too safe trades, these were my two biggest winners. And I had actually WKHS a few different times, short term and long term. And you need to wait for these big plays. I know that it's discouraging, like if you have small gains or small losses, or have you're trading with smaller position sizes than me, you make or lose $5 or $10, and you're like, God, Tim, like this isn't even worth it. My friends and family make fun of me because it's penny stocks. They say that you're like the Wolf of Wall Street. Listen, if you have doubts, do not bother learning. I'm so sick and tired of people who get discouraged. They don't take the education seriously. They make me repeat myself. If you have doubts, I'm not going to be offended, okay? That's on you. I try my very hardest. Just like I said, all you can do is be in control of your own studying. Well, I'm in control of my own teaching, and I try my damnedest. You can hear it in my Jewish nasal passages. I'm stuffy almost every few days because I'm staying up. I'm filming this freaking video lesson nearly midnight because I have long days of charity lately. I'm burning the candle at both ends, but I know that when I rest my head to sleep at night, I've tried my best. But if my best isn't good enough for you, and you get discouraged by small losses or small gains, and you get discouraged by friends or family, just don't continue. Make life easier on both of us. Because the key to success is waiting for the best plays. DCTH, mind you, this was probably the best play of the month, and I mistimed it. Okay? I made roughly a penny a share, less than $1,000. Tim Grattani, he had roughly 500,000 shares at like 8 cents. And the thing went up to 30 cents the next day. So theoretically, he could have made over 100,000. I think he sold it. He gave a live challenge webinar. I think he sold at 11 cents. So he mistimed it. He still made like 7 grand. I still made, roughly 700. So we're not going to trade everything perfectly. Sometimes there will be a perfect play and we'll mistime it. Sometimes there'll be a good play like WKHS and I'll play it a little too safe. Sometimes there'll be a good play like ITKG and I'll just absolutely nail it and I'll take the meat of the move and that was a good trade. Sometimes I'll get a little stubborn on a longer term trade like NTN and I'll lose. Okay? I'm not going to be perfect. I will never, ever claim to be perfect. But what I hope that you will see, if you do look at my trades and analyze my trades, and you look at Tim Grattani's trades and you analyze his trades, and you look at Michael Good's trades and analyze his trades, and Mark Cook's trades, and Stephen Dux's, and there's so many more. But these are basically the four, I think, best traders in my trading challenge, especially because They're also detailing their trades. If you're in the Trading Challenge chat room, you see their trades alerted in real time. It's really kind of cool to see what their profit patterns look like. And, this isn't unique, this isn't fake, this is real. But at the same time, the way to really grow your account is waiting for the best plays. And I know that's not what you want to hear. I know this isn't going to be a popular video lesson, but it's the reality of the situation. And part of the reason why I have the most successful students, the most millionaire students, why my education business is booming, because I'm real. I'm not going to necessarily tell you what you're going to want to hear. I'm telling you how it is. And this is why we make millions of dollars. If you listen to these other people who have not made millions of dollars and they're newbies, they've been trading for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they've never ever dared show their entire track record, theirs or their top students, you're going to miss out on the best plays because they just have you chasing crap because they have deals with, offshore brokers. They have really just, I mean, they're not necessarily evil, some of them are, but most of them are just, newbies. And there's nothing against being a newbie. You just don't know what it takes to make millions of dollars. And I know I sound cocky. I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, Tim, you're such an egomaniac." It's not cockiness, it's not arrogance, it's experience. I want you to become a millionaire. So I want you to have patience. I want you to, while you're waiting for these good plays, study. This is why I have so many video lessons and webinars and DVDs. I want you to study the past. If you wonder why I make so many movie analogies, guess what? I've seen a lot of movies. If you wonder why I'm traveling so much, guess what? I travel a lot. I've created this life designed to optimize my trading. And if you actually look at my trading stats in detail, I do better when I'm traveling. Why is that? How is that possible? I thought you needed a multi-monitor setup. I thought you needed $25,000. I do better when I'm traveling, even if some of my accounts are restricted due to my travel, and I just trade off one single laptop. Okay? I know that makes me the oddball. I know that there are traders out there with like 10, 20 monitors, and they think that trading is all about having 10, 20 positions. And 7 positions are long, 3 positions are short, and they're trading like a hedge fund, and they're using leverage, and they're using their millions of dollars. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit for small accounts. Okay? Now, mind you, I have never, ever traded with, $10+ million or $50+ million. I don't know what it takes to really make it in the big, bad finance world. What I do know is how to grow a small account. And this is why I teach this, because I've done it several times before. I go back to my $12,000 account. This year I went back to a $5,000 account. I grow my small accounts exponentially. Not always the same, not always, very easily, not in a beautiful kind of way where it's like gradual gains and there's like a linear chart. You know, this is what happens sometimes where I do hardly anything, or you might even see me down over a 1 or 2 week period. That always freaks people out. They're like, God, you've been studying, you've been doing all this, 90% of traders lose, and you're just a loser too for on a 1 or 2 week period. I don't care at all whatsoever if my accounts are up or minus a few $100s over the course of a few days or even over the course of a few weeks. I learn from my losses. I try to get better. I try to do better. But at the same time, I recognize what it takes to grow an account exponentially. And that, my friends, is that what I'm trying to teach you here. You need to have patience. You need to wait for these supernovas. Even if you mistime it like I did on DCTH, or if you time it perfectly like I did on ITKG, or you underestimated it like I did on WKHS. Out of these 3 solid plays, I underestimated 2 of them and I nailed 1 of them. So I'm 2 for 3. If I was a baseball player and I had a lifetime batting average of 667, that would be fantastic. I would be the best baseball player of all time. I am not going to necessarily always be 2 out of 3. You could make a case here that for like 2 weeks, really LINU was my only big winner. And this one I actually, really did nail quite nicely a few times. 1600 and 1300. Aside from these two trades, I'm wrong, 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 wrong. Okay? So let's just count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good. So this is my past 20 trades. I encourage you to look back at your past 20 trades. I encourage you to post your last 20 trades on Profitly and study it over the weekend. See what you could do right, see what you did wrong, and you try to do better. You try to optimize. Out of these 20 trades, I have 3 losses. Okay? So I'm 17 for 20 in the wins category. But at the same time, if I make $15, if I make $99, if I make $76, if I make $35, if I make 24, that's me being wrong. I don't care if I make or lose $24. I don't just judge based on profits and losses. I judge based on my account really moving forward, really growing. So if it's a scratch, plus or minus $24 does not matter. So let me just count all of these scratches as losses. Okay? So even this 171, where I made 4 cents a share, this was a big position. I was wrong. It did not spike the way I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. So now, out of 20 trades, 9 of them did not do what I want. And you can even make the case here that this, on CAMT, this bounce attempt making 180, that was, making 4 cents a share on a $6 stock. That's a scratch. Making 5 cents a share on a $4 stock. I was a little too early on WKHS here. That's wrong. Okay. And I don't know if I included one of these. Let's just include all the little ones. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now I have 9 small gains and 3 losses. So really, I'm only right where I have, like a sizable gain 7 out of 12. Or was it 8 out of 12? I forgot. 7 or 8 out of 12 or out of 20. Um, I'm doing really well. I'm getting to the point where I'm making, 1600, or I'm making 650 or 1300, 1500, 5000, 5900. Let me just pull something up. Hold up. Let me make it very visual for you because I'm confusing myself. Might also be because I'm doing this at midnight. Okay, I have a Word document pulled up. So we're looking at 20 trades, 3 losses. Go back here. 3 clear red losses. It's very easy. If you're colorblind, I'm sorry I can't help you. But aside from the losses themselves, let's just look at my small gains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 small wins. So out of 20 trades, really, I'm right on 8 out of 20. Okay? It's not just about the losses. I was basically wrong expecting like a big spike or a big drop, depending if I'm long or short. I was wrong on 12 out of 20 trades in the past month. And yet, my overall account, as you can see, has grown quite nicely. Why? Because whether I have a small gain or a small loss, the stock doesn't do what I want, I get out. It's a scratch. Okay? This is the definition of a scratch. And again, this is why I teach the way that I do. If you are discouraged by small wins or small losses and you're like, I studied for 5 hours and I only made $12. If you're looking to get paid like hourly, this is not for you. The key to growing your account exponentially, I want to be very clear because this is probably one of the most important lessons that I teach. And this is what separates me from all these newbie traders who have never made millions of dollars. They don't know how to spot big winners. They don't know how to grow an account exponentially because they've never done it. This is why they don't share their trades publicly. This is why their top students don't share their trades publicly. I have nothing to hide. That is what makes me qualified to teach. And I want this to be crystal clear. I am only right on 8 out of 20. And you might say, oh, Tim, but you made money on 17 out of 20. Making small amounts does not matter to me. I know you think it does. I know you think like making 2 cents here, 3 cents here, 4 cents there adds up. It adds up to shit. That does not grow my account exponentially. That is a scratch. I would rather not do a trade than make 2, 3, 4 cents a share on a $4, $5, $6 stock. Okay? I go into every single trade trying to make 10, 20, 30%. If you want to ask how I find my stocks these days, stocks2trade.com. Use the software. I'm not going to repeat it again. This platform was designed for low price stocks. How do you find the structure for low price stocks? What moves them? Sometimes they have good news and the stock doesn't go up the way you think. Watch my trader checklist guide. I'm not making a very fancy video lesson here, but I have the tools. I have the Sykes sliding scale if you've seen my trader checklist guide. I have the specific indicators that I use. If you add up the specific indicators to find good trades, sometimes you will still have a loss. Sometimes you will have a scratch. But oftentimes, if you do have the patience to wait for the best plays, if you want to watch movies, if you want to travel, if you want to study the past stock market, if you want to study another subject, if you want to go hang out with friends and family, I don't care. As long as you trade less than you think you do. As long as you're more meticulous than you think you can be. You cannot over prepare. You cannot be over patient. Now I get it. When you see a play like DCTH, when the stock triples the next day, and we were all there, and I think pretty much everybody, most people sold too soon because you just didn't expect DCTH to actually go to 30, 35 cents. But it did. And this, frankly, because I took a solid position, was one of the times that I was right. But I was really right on that. I made a video lesson saying specifically why I think this stock is breaking out, over the multi-day. The support, I think, was like 8.4 cents. I was dead on. But I sold way, way, way too soon, partially because of my travel. But even, when I did have Wi-Fi the next day, not right at the market open, but right around there, it opened around 11 cents. And even if I had held it overnight, forget about my travel, at best, I would have made another penny a share. There's no way I would have held till 35 cents, let alone 30 or 25 or 20 cents. I just didn't think that it could do it that much. But because it did, it influenced my next trade on ITKG, and I was a little more aggressive. And that, frankly, was my biggest winner in the past, several months, dollar-wise and percent-wise and execution-wise. This was a near perfect trade. And I owe it to my mistiming of DCTH. And I owe my mistiming of DCTH, playing it so safely, to the success on LINU, which was another low price stock that, frankly, I took good profits on. Because I took good profits on LINU, I wanted to play it safe on DCTH. Because I played it too safe on DCTH, I wanted to get more aggressive with ITKG. This is how I adapt. Every similar play influences the next. And the cool thing is, if you're too conservative on one trade, whether you have a small gain or a small loss, you learn from it, you see what's working in the market, and you try to adapt on the next play. Obviously, no two companies, no two stocks are exactly alike. But when DCTH goes from 5 or 6 cents up to 35 cents, so 7 times your money in a week, that ignited every single 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 cent a share stock that had any volume. And it didn't matter if it had news or not. It was, they were all just running until they weren't. And they actually became good shorts too. What I want you to take away from this is that no trade goes wasted. Okay? If you say, oh, Tim, okay, I get it. I won't trade as much as I think I should. Cool. If you undertrade, that's good. This is probably why brokers don't want to work with me, because I don't want you guys trading too much. I want you guys having patience. But if you are going to trade, do not get discouraged by small losses or small gains. Use them to get better. Use them to adapt to the market and see what is working right this second, right this day, because that is how you get better. This is kind of like a moving target. Let me show you. Picture yourself almost like a fighter jet, right? And fighter jets have like crosshairs. You see this? How you get the target in your crosshair and then you zoom in. And if you're, manning or, gunning for a target, you need that crosshair because you're trying to be as, obviously precise to your target as possible. It's not an exact science. What is this? This is like a glass cockpit, how to drop bombs. Beautiful, wonderful. I'm anti-violence. I don't approve of this stuff. But at the same time, this is basically your command station. You're like this dude. This is the stock market. And you're trying to, pinpoint your target, but also understand that it's a moving target. Maybe it shouldn't be fighter jet crosshair. Moving target crosshair. I guess you could say it's like a video game. Just see moving target. It should be moving target crosshair, right? This is a good analogy. You see, I don't even need to watch this. You see the crosshair? You're trying to shoot the bad guy and you're trying to aim perfectly. In the stock market, you're trying to aim. So DCTH, I had the perfect aim. I had the perfect, setup, but I underestimated it. Then ITKG had the same kind of price action. And because of DCTH, because I adapted, I did better on ITKG. Every single trade should be learned from. And that is how you get better over time. But at the same time, to really grow your account, you need to wait for better setups. Too many of you, I see you trading 2, 3, 4 times in a day and you have a small account. And you're like, God, the PDT rule is so frustrating. The PDT rule is good for you. And I have a whole blog post on this. What is the pattern day trader rule? And we're actually going to go over it at my upcoming conference. And I should remind you, if you made it this far, that my upcoming conference, the early bird RSVP list ends in just a few days, where you save $1,000 off the regular price ticket. This is happening in September in Orlando. Everybody emailing asking for instructions. All you have to do is go to traderandinvestorsummit.com and lock in your spot right now. You can't even buy a ticket yet. It's just a warning, okay? If you click join the early bird, it just has enter your name and email. And that way you will be prepared when we do send out tickets, because the tickets, especially for the early bird, are going to go fast, because you're also going to get a special cocktail party. There might be some extra rewards. Kind of excited about this in just a few days. But what I'm going to teach you is patience. What I'm going to teach you is that small gains and small losses don't matter. What I'm going to teach you is that to grow a small account exponentially, you're going to have to trade differently than these big hedge funds. I hear some people, they're like, Tim, why do you trade this way? Just trade like Goldman Sachs. Because Goldman Sachs and all of their traders trade with millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And even if they make money on a percent basis, it's pathetic. So if you only have a few $1,000s to your name, no, the Goldman Sachs trading strategy will not help you. The strategy that will help you best is mine. And for mine, you have to have patience. You have to wait. You cannot just make a few bucks every day or every few days, and that's how it really grows over time. The best plays you will see very far away, The best trees you'll see from far away. There's a quote like that. I don't know. It's after midnight. I'm exhausted. But I'm still doing this video lesson at around midnight on a weekend because I want you to understand this. Because, some months I can't really make this lesson. Right now I can make the lesson because I just had two big winners. Excuse me. Two big winners that basically just wiped away all my small gains and small losses over several weeks. And that is how you're going to grow your account. Whether it's one big winner, two big winners, three big winners, maybe you'll miss time one, maybe you won't be around for one. I have a lot of part-time students too, but it's the big winners that you should be after, not the everyday consistent gains that make you feel better because, you're conditioned to want to get paid every day. You're thinking like a 9 to 5er. You're trying to, make yourself proud, make your family and friends proud. Every single day that goes by without a big gain, you start doubting me, you start doubting yourself, you start doubting the strategy, and that makes you more likely to trade because now, you're just trying to, climb this slippery slope and you keep falling lower and lower. Your account isn't going anywhere. You're putting in all this time. I see it happen too many times. So you need to understand how this game works. If you don't want to trade every day, that's fine. But if you do, at least cut losses quickly and understand that it takes a lot of practice. Okay? I brought up stockstotrade.com where you can use it to basically find the best stocks every day. You can also use it for paper trading. You don't have to risk hard-earned money. It's not a full education. You don't get the, emotional education, but at least you get to learn, how these stocks move up and down. And paper trading is a good tool, especially when you're beginning. If you think that, small gains or small losses are really going to, frustrate you and eat away at you like they do to too many people that I see, then just don't trade yet. Seriously. Whatever keeps you learning the most, whatever keeps you, studying and wanting to optimize your pattern the longest. I'm a fan of that. I haven't always been a fan of paper trading. I like to trade. I like to learn by trial and error. That's the way that I did. If I could go back to when I was beginning in 98, 99, I would have paper traded. I wouldn't necessarily have made as much, but again, that was, me being in the right place at the right time. Right now, you don't have a tech bubble, especially, during the slower summer where it's been frankly a little trickier the past few days. Paper trading is good for you. And if it takes you a few weeks or even a few months to practice, don't feel bad. Tim Grattani, where is he? Oh, and they're all coming to speak at the conference, by the way. I don't know where the Tim Grattani thing went. Anyways, Michael Good, Mark Crook, Stephen Ducks, to get to these points, what they made in their beginning stages does not matter. I was going to bring back Tim Grattani's chart, but I'm too tired. He was not consistently profitable for the first 9 months. Not did he make $1 million in 9 months. Consistently profitable, waiting for the best plays to strike. Okay? It took him 9 months to learn that, and he's arguably the best trader. All these guys took him more than 9 months. So if you think that you're going to learn everything in the first 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, think again. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And even if you are paper trading or even if you missed plays like DCTH, if you can witness them, if you can learn from them and see how quickly they pop up and how amazing they are for, this was a good play for like 3 days. Now it's crashing. You have to get used to this. And then it's like a moving target. And when you keep moving, your crosshair, eventually your target is going to come in perfectly in the middle of the crosshair. And that is when I want you to fire. But you need to be trained when to fire. You need to be trained to fine tune your crosshair and find the best trades and wait for those trades. That's today's lesson. If you understand what I'm saying, type in some words, fine tune your crosshair. This is what I want you to type in. It makes sense, okay? Type this underneath this video if you understand it. And if you don't understand it, it's cool. I don't know how much sense I'm making. I probably shouldn't do midnight videos, but I have a crazy schedule, and this is all you got for me over the weekend. Fine tune your crosshairs, use every trade to get better on the next. Don't complain, don't get discouraged. If you want to quit, quit. I'm not going to stop you. There's a million excuses that I've heard. I'm not interested in any of them. What I am interested in is those of you who are willing to commit to this journey, to this marathon. And if you do, over time, you fine tune your crosshair. And then you hit your targets more often than not. So again, if you understand this, type in fine tune your crosshair. And then you don't have to type this, but over time, this is the gist of this. You will hit your targets more often than not. That's today's lesson. I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow.